Hello and welcome to an Everquest guide for a level 120 Cleric. And for my disclaimer, this is how I play a Cleric. This is how I box my Cleric. I don't raid with my Cleric. I raided back, 99, 2000. I raided as a Cleric. Never got over level 60 on that character, so there. Well, maybe 65, but I can't remember. So this is, how I do it. So I'm going to go over my spells that I have, and then I'm going to go over some hotbar stuff. I'm going to talk about how I multi-bind my abilities. I'll talk about how I do my extended targets, and we'll go from there. And maybe talk about gear at the end. Alright, so my spells. I have 3 remedies memorized, right? These are quick heals that are... you get at the beginning of every level set. So 116, 111, and 106 right now. At 121 we'll get a new one. But these are quick heals that heal for a set amount, and then if the target is less than 20%, they will get a little bit of a bonus. You can see here 16 and 20, 13 and 17. And 10 and 13, so there's a bonus there depending on that. So these are my bread and butter healing spells. These are what I use for the majority of the healing. Then I have Atoned and Sincere Intervention. So this is a nice spell because it does damage and heals, and it damages your target's target. So I can target my target to heal, and then it will do damage to that. So the 118 and 113 one are the ones I'm running right now. I'll get another one at probably 123, 124, around there. I don't know. All right, so this heals for 29,000 and then does 19,000 damage to the target. 26 if it's undead, 23 if it's summoned. And then 24-17 on this one. So pretty substantial heals, just depends on that. So it gives me a little DPS out of this, right? So it's not a lot of DPS, but it does give me damage, right? So if I target somebody, my paladin, right? He's targeting a combat dummy, so if I do that, I go to spell damage. Oh, I don't even know where it shows up. There we go. Is this it? I got a lot of stuff going on here. There we go. 237,000 damage for that spell, right? So it's pretty nice. Adds up over time. Oh, I think I just looked at the DPS meter. Then we have Symbol of Soothing. Syllable, I mean. Line of spells are the synergy. So if we go here to Templar Synergy, we see here that this is a 100% chance to trigger Templar Synergy on everybody in the group, which will add 13,000 to 3 heals, right? The next rank is at 118, that gives us that. So I don't have the AAs right now for this ability. Takes 200, I'm saving up for it right now. And when I do that, I'll switch to a Syllable of Invigoration as my group heal spell. You can see here it's a like 4,000 point extra heal, so it's pretty nice when it comes to getting that extra healing out and whatnot. And I cast that on cooldown. That's my first spell in my multi-bind to ensure that at all times I have Templar Synergy on my group. All right, and then I go into Retort, which is a it's like a, I don't know, it's I would say is more of a DPS spell. Kind of click on it kind of passively, right? So it adds a chance when striking enemies to put channeled mark on them, right? So this will do the reverse damage shield, which deals 5,800 damage every time they strike something, and heals the person for 3,500 damage. So that's pretty nice. And then it also does a heal for 6,600. So it's extra healing and a little bit of extra damage. So it's pretty nice. And then I have Ecliptic Blessing. So this will cast the highest rank of Ecliptic Blessing I have. Increasing their max hit points, healing them, and cast the highest rank of Life Spring, which heals the entire group for 26,000. So if we cast this on my Paladin, right? So click on him. He has 496,000 hit points. If I cast this on him, everybody gets a heal, right? And then he gained, let's just say 40,000 hit points, right? Pretty substantial. And if we if you counter that with all the other things that increase hit points, it goes pretty high, pretty quick. And after that, that's a minute reuse, so I use it when I got it. Shining Fortitude. Now, this is a short-term, 10-minute buff that lowers the, absorbs damage, right? What is this? 10% of incoming damage for that, and it has a chance to trigger a stun and a heal. So you can see here, it'll stun up to 120 for 1 second, and then heal you for 5,000. So it's pretty nice. I cast this as much as I possibly can and remember to cast it. So always good to have on the tank. And then I have Hand of Undying Infusion, which is another short duration buff. This one's 2 minutes. Infuses your group's weapons with a chance to do Devout Infusion, which will heal your target's target for 4,300. Now, if you think about this, this is like passive healing, because this will land on pets. Like, so if we cast this, right, where's my tank? Cast that on him. All right, so I cast it on the group, and we go over here to my mage, right, and Hand of Undying Fusion. Every pet, every melee has a chance to trigger this, which will heal for 4,300. Substantial amount of healing. It fades after 8 heals, but if you cast it enough, it is fantastic. I've almost considered putting this in my multibind because it does have a longer recast time, so that, it's on cooldown, it's being used. I just haven't done it yet. I'm not 100% sure yet. Then I have Rallied Greater Blessing of Vi, which is another absorb. So it absorbs 10% of incoming melee damage. It'll absorb 95,000 before, and then it'll heal for 8,400. Now, it's not a whole lot, but it is something. Now, whenever I redo buffs, I do it. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on how that goes. And then here I have Word of Greater Rejuvenation, which heals everybody in the group for 24,000 and then cures 40 disease and poison counters and 32 curse counters. This is just the best spell in the world. The heal is not as important as the cure, in my opinion, but it is fantastic for getting that out. And then the last one I have here is Divine Meditation, which bestows the favor of the gods upon your target, granting them a 90% chance to be healed for 120,000. If they're struck when they're below 15% of their maximum health, this favor fades when the target heals the target or after 10 minutes. And it takes a pair of emeralds to cast. So this is the Divine Intervention line of spells. It is fantastic. And I try to keep it on my Paladin at all times because he will go from, 550,000 hit points to nothing before I even know what's going on sometimes. It is insane how fast he can die if I'm not paying attention. So it is definitely important. So those are my everyday carry spells. Now, I do have other spells I do cast. First one here is the first Aura of the Persistent. So if we go ahead and cast that. So I have this neat little macro here that will memorize it into a spell slot, cast it, and go back to the normal spell set. There we go. Aura of the Persistent is the first one here, and this one, I remember what it does. Where did it go? Aura of the Persistent absorbs 4% of incoming melee damage up to a maximum value of 4,100 per strike. Now, if I get hit for, you know, whatever percentage, right, it's going to take off up to 4,000 damage off that. That is phenomenal. That just all, like, there's a weapon called the Worm Slayer from I think Empires of Kunark. It was kind of the passive effect of this that did 1,000, and that was like game changer. Now 4,000, this is like game changer. It just totally takes off the big hits and makes them a little bit more sustainable for me to tank. My other aura here is Bastion of Divinity, which just increases our maximum hit points. We can see here we're at 5,400. Now we're almost 600,000 hit points on our Paladin. Insane the amount of buffing of HP that we get out of that. And then another spell, I cast Ageism. I don't have access to a druid, so I don't have access to skin, but skin does not stack with the cleric mana regen buff. If I can find it here. Do I even have it on? It's like Armor of Sincerity or something like that. It wore off. I don't see it. Here. All right, so we can get that from casting Unity, right? And it should pop on there. All right, something's blocking it, obviously. Oh, Vampire Focusing. There we go. That's why we didn't have that. All right, so Vampire Focusing. So our mana regen buff does not stack with Focus, and it does not stack with Druid Skin. So I go with Ageism. Our current one is Persistence. Hopefully that's what that is. I go with that one. I don't do Symbol, just because it doesn't work out. And it works out pretty well because the same thing kind of applies for the Paladin and whatnot. So I typically block all those spells. I guess that was a new one I had gotten and I didn't block it yet. You can see here there's those spells I block. The other Focus, I block the Beast Lord HP buff because I want Brells. I also block the what is this called, the Ranger buff, so that I can get Yelp. Yelp does not stack with that buff. So here we go. Yelp is another buff you want to do on cooldown because it gives us 276 mana regeneration. You don't have to melee or anything with that, but you know, we're at 1200 mana regeneration right now, so it gets pretty nice. And then I have the same kind of buff for Ageism here, right? Just cast it, and it will buff everybody with that, and I block everything I need to. There we go. And then it just goes back into that. So those are kind of the spells that we use, right? Like everything, like whatnot. So I do have a hide corpse and forage macro here that just hides all the corpses and forages. I try to forage on cooldown just to, you know, get as much as these items from the expansions that I can for when I start cooking and stuff like that. So I have enough food and whatnot. So now we go into our multibind. So I have 4 and 5 multibind on this character, like so. So the hotbar built into the game lets you multibind two keys to one hotbar. So I have them all set to 4 and 5. So anytime I hit 4 or 5, all these spells that I talk about will be activated. The first one here just targets X target 20. So my tank is X target 20. Target that. If I have a mod rod, I use it. Otherwise, I auto inventory anything that's in my hand. All right, so that's 4 and 5 up there, and then we go into the multi-bind down here. So we have Syllable of the Soothing, followed by Guileless Remedy, Ecliptic Blessing, Atoned Intervention, Sincere Remedy, Retort, Sincere Intervention, and Merciful Remedy. Now, that is like the bread and butter of all the healing that I put out. That is enough to get me through just about any encounter I've encountered in the game so far with a paladin tank, and using pets to also taunt off that. It's worked really well for me. Also, there's other AA abilities that I activate at the same time. So Beacon of Life, if it's up, it does a 30,000 heal to everybody in the group. Yelp gives us mana regen, like I said, gets that out there. Here, let's go ahead and re-Saints Unity here so we can see our full mana regen. Yeah, 1084 right now. It varies based on whatever buffs we have going on. So, you know, you get that going on there. Do we lose Yelp? Does that wear off? It does. Okay, there we go. I didn't think it wore off in here. 1360 is where our mana regen is with Yelp at the moment. So that is substantial. Typically, I don't have to sit and I don't have to med with my Cleric. She typically stays around full mana based on how fast I go. It just depends gear-wise and whatnot, like how far you're pushing with the different gear, because you're going to get higher mana regen on the higher level gear. Tier 3 and stuff. All right. Then I go into Burst of Life, which is just another instant heal that targets the target, right? So this is 37,000 heal on the target. 3-minute reuse, so if it's up, it's up. It gets used on demand. Exquisite Benediction summons a ward, which is a stationary object in the world that will heal everybody near that object within a 100-foot radius of that object for 11,000 every 6 seconds, up to 300 seconds. So this is a nice, just like, you know, typically, like, it's a 20-minute reuse, so you'd probably want to save it most of the time. But the way I play, I don't care. It doesn't make or break anything, but it is nice to have because you can really see it, right? And this is an AoE heal, so this is going to hit the pets, this is going to hit the shaman I'm constantly cannibalizing on, so, you know, it just depends. Then we have Divine Guardian, which, you know, places us under our target under the protection of the Divine Guardian Spirit for 6 minutes. So this is another divine intervention type spell. They go below 30%. They instantly get a 79,000 point heal, and then it prevents them from doing that again. But I do it on cooldown on my tank, so every 6 minutes he has this. It's a 5-minute reuse, so I try to keep that up as much as possible. Then we have Celestial Regeneration. Heals all groups in the group with a 200-foot radius for 15,000 every 6 seconds. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this stacks with the Shaman group heal over time. I have never even bothered to see, but it's on cooldown. I just do it here. But I don't typically heal with my Shaman, so it doesn't really matter. Blessing of Sanctuary instantly heals your target for 75,000, causing them to be the last target of the aggressor. So this is something you probably don't want to cast on a tank in a situation where you don't control the whole group. I control the whole group, and this works for me because I know that I'm instantly going to be snapping aggro because my multi-bind is set up where he is constantly doing aggro. And also have 3 pets taunting, so this isn't going to affect anybody else in the group except for, the paladin there for like a split second. Never had any issues with it that way. Then I have Divine Arbitration, which pretty much balances everybody's health. Typically, this doesn't really do much, if anything. It splits a 100,000 point heal across everybody in the group, but kind of just levels out their health. It works pretty well. In most situations that I'm in, only one person is taking damage, and it's not really a big deal. So, and then I have focused celestial regeneration, which I don't believe. No, they have different timers, so I guess they do work. This is just another heal over time I can throw onto the target, and this is 18,000 per tick for 6 seconds, or every 6 seconds for 18 seconds. So this is 18,000 times 3, so pretty nice there. So you can, as you can see, there's lots of healing going out. Lots of healing going out. All right, and then my 6 key up here is just the group heal, cure thing, and then here for my burn. So typically there's not much to burn as a cleric, right? I'm not doing any damage other than the 3 spells that I have on my bar. Everything is healing. So this is all based around getting more heals out and stuff like that. A lot of these are, just twin casts and stuff like that. So this one here is channeling of the divine. Increases the mana of your spells, but it allows them to be twin cast. So I don't even think I'm casting any of these spells. So it doesn't really oh, this works on all of them. So this heal, just twin cast heals everything, right? Flurry of Life increases the healing power of your instant spells by 35%. Bigger heals, pretty nice. Celestial Rapidity. Where are you? Sort by name. There it is. Reduces the cast time of your healing spells by 50%. Faster heals. Ward of Purity. Right down here. So this is another ward. I believe it is on the same timer as the other one. Exquisite Benediction, I believe. Yeah, they're both on timer 11. So one of these is going out, but this is a cure one. I put this one in here because if I'm able to put it up, right? So they have different use times, but if I can get this out, this is helpful in situations where I'm fighting a name that does like a dot of some sort that's curable. Like I ran into it in Empires of Kunar and Ring of Scale a lot more than I have recently. So it's useful in that regard. Spire of the Vicar. This is just a all-around buff to all the things we do. Increases direct damage, increases healing, increases critical damage, increases armor class, reduces 8% melee. I believe this goes on everybody in the group right here. So yeah, reduces melee damage by 5. Absorb incoming spell damage, melee damage, increases armor class. Everybody gets a little bit of love out of that, as with all the spires. So that's nice. Then we have Forceful Rejuvenation, which I believe just resets everything. Refreshes the spellcast timers, allowing you to immediately use the spell. So I believe the only one that really affects is Ecliptic and Divine Meditation. I don't think it really... These other ones are such fast recast times. But Healing Frenzy, which increases the healing 100% chance to score a critical hit, and increases the mana cost by a lot. Improved Twin Cast allows us to just pretty much twin cast 20 damaging spells, so we don't really cast any of those. So it might twin cast the interventions. I can't remember. Silent Casting just lowers our threat on everything we do by 85%. And then use item. Oh, there's a typo in there. Just noticed it. Use item 17. Wow, that's... How long have I been doing that? Use item 17, which gives us let's see here. Absorb 100% of incoming melee damage for 500,000. And then it adds this. I believe this is targeted. No, it's self. So it's kind of useful. Or useless. guess. Let me see. There's my paladin. We're right click. Oh, I gotta click it over here. What's that called? Merciful Shield. Let's see if we see it over here. Actually, let's just go straight to him. Merciful Shield. It is targetable, so it does go to the target, which is good to know because I never even tried that before since the thing was broken. So that's another massive, 3-minute duration, 500,000 and Kerm. So that's like 10, 20 seconds of fighting right there. That is completely mitigated right there. So, all right. Yeah, so that's burn 2, burn 3, intensely resolute. This is just another special burn. It's just here because I copied these macros from like other characters that I have. Where is intensity of the resolute here? There it is. And I believe this is a 55% damage increase. Doesn't stack with glyph, so it's nice. Nice to have. It doesn't matter. I have a sit macro just to sit for everybody. So when on my paladin, I hit 0, everybody sits. Divine Peace is our escape. Pretty much evades us from combat, turns us invisible for 1 minute. Useful. Fails sometimes if it feels like, but it is useful. Right, and then we have a mount. I mount up sometimes if I'm going to be in some place for a long time. I mount up. Usually don't need the extra few points of mana regen that I get. So what are we were at 1360. Why didn't it land? Why didn't that stack? Wouldn't have taken hold. I don't know. I got something on me that blocks. Maybe it's the mount. You can't mount. Oh my god, I've been doing that. I never noticed it. Okay, so you can't be on a mount and use Yelp. All right, so 1360 versus 1128. So mounting on the Cleric is absolutely useless. So there you go. You want to keep Yelp up at all times. I didn't even realize that until right now. Let's see here. Where was I? That's that bar. This bar. I have a DPS button. Rarely do I use this. It's activated whenever I do numpad 4. Numpad 4 on my Necromancer and Shaman is dots. So this will target X target 19. And it will try to cast hammer time on it, which is Celestial Hammer right here. Activated summons a hammer to attack the target for 60 seconds, and it has a chance to deal 15,000 on proc, right? So that's pretty nice. That's nice little damage we can get out there. I also do turn undead if the mob happens to be undead. When I was in COV and where is this thing? When I was in COV and TOL or TOV, it was a lot more useful because there's a lot more undead, but in Terror and Night of Shadows, there's not as much undead. I totally can't see this spell. Right there. So Turn Undead does 270,000 damage with a chance to do even more. It's insane. Do you really notice the paladins, or not the paladin, the cleric's DPS when this goes? It's crazy. But it's a nice. I try to get it on like a named once it's once my necro turns it undead. I try to land this, but it's harder to get this on there for the cleric than it is to do anything else. But it's there. And then I have a buff the tank button. It's pretty much all those short-term duration buffs, 11, 10, and 9 that it's like, where it is. There we go. I don't even know what happened there. What did I hit? I hit 4 and it sent the hammer out there. Yeah, that's what it did. There we go. which causes everybody else to start doing their dots. So, but it does all the buffs in my 7 here. So rallied there, and then that's a group buff. Doesn't really have to target anybody. Hand of Infusion, get that out there, and Shining Fortitude. Just get all those out there. Make sure they're all on there at all times. Then I have Tranquil Blessing, Mass Group buff. Just allows my ageism to hit everybody in the general area. So typically when I die, I do Mass Group buffs of all my characters on everybody in the lag pile in the Drenell guild lobby. The next bar is pretty much empty. I used to use single target heals to target certain X targets, but I no longer even bother with that since I don't need to, with the way that I just AoE heal. So it just works out better this way. I have Experience Potion here, less than a Devout there, so this is on the same location on all 6 screens. So I can just do the IS box or key repetion broadcast and just click that for everybody at the same time. And then we went through my multi-bind already, but it's down here on everything is bound to 4 and 5. All right, and then these are all the burn abilities that I have over here. I have them right here so I can kind of see when they're up and down by looking at the screen. Then we have Call of the Herald, which is it's a resurrection that does not give experience, but it gives a little bit of resources back. I believe it's 20% of health and mana. So if you're trying to get a tank back in, you call them back in sometimes. Typically I just do Blessing of the Resurrection just to get them back. I don't really it's not a big deal to me if they don't have any resources when they come back, if they die. I try to save my Divine Res for when my tank dies, because that gives back 100% of all this stuff, and there's no res sickness. So he's immediately like unbuffed and ready to go. All I have to do is Agialism, and then go over to my Shaman, click Focus, and he's buffed enough to survive the rest of the fight most of the time. So there's that. And then we have Perseverance here, which is just a self-restore 60,000 health and mana. So if I ever get low on mana in a fight, I can kind of just, pray to Inaruk and get my stuff back for a little bit. And then I can also give up my mana and give it to somebody else and give them 60,000 health and mana if I want. But I have literally probably never done that. Then I have Radiant Cure, Group Purify Soul, Purify, and Purify Spirits. These are all cures. 4 cures, 2 of them do group, and Purify does the target, and Purify Soul does self. So just pretty much cures you of whatever you got. What is this? Blessed Chains. This is a root. I've never used it. Now, if you play a cleric and you're not like me boxing it, you probably are going to use it, but I don't at all. Divine Avatar increases your chance to just melee better, right? I don't melee with my cleric at all because I have my paladin targeted. If my spells worked in the way that I could do target of target, right? So I'm targeting this and all my spells healed that target, then I could melee, but I can't. Switching targets is too much work, especially when I do a multi-bind situation here. So it's just not doable for me to melee, but if I could, I would, because the proc on the melee weapons for clerics is extra mana. So I'll talk about gear here in a minute. And then we have the 2 auras, Aura of the Persistent and Aura of the Divinity, or Bastion of Divinity. Always have those up. More hit points, less damage. Perfect. And then we have Agialism. I just have a macro for it, so I don't have to keep it memorized. Divine Aura. It's useful. I can't get to it and hit it in ever, right? So it just never works out for me to do that at all. Then I have a hotkey for my familiar, which just gives me extra 1400 stats plus more damage, more healing, more mana regen, and all that stuff. So it's nice. And then the Unity spell, which don't believe this one. No, I have it updated. I got that one recently. Just cast the highest level of Armor of Penance, which is the mana regen self buff we have that doesn't stack with anything. Also gives us hit points and armor class. It's pretty nice self buff there. All right, that's all my macros. Everything else is just useless. Down there, let's go into gear. I think that's a good spot. We'll go into AAs after this. So for the Cleric, you're going to want a Mechadent power source. This will increase your mana regen and your heal amount. And I believe Clairvoyance, I have no idea what that actually does. It also increases your Heroic Wisdom, which is the heroic stat I go for my Cleric. Hopefully that's the correct thing to go for. I don't know. But it increases that and whatnot. So it's pretty nice. There you can see we're just standing here. We're at 1084 mana regen. With Yelp, we get up to 1360, which is just enough, right? So you can see here, Remedy is 2000. The previous remedy is that. So we're almost regenerating half a heal every second. I can see here as we go through all these, right? We regenerate quite a bit of mana, and we're not spending a lot. Heals are not expensive in this game. So the best gear you can get at 120 is the Gallant gear from Lorien's Song. The tier 1. You can also pick up the tier 1 accessories too and whatnot. For a Cleric, I use a one-handed blunt and a shield. Seems to be the best setup for that. I was graciously donated the Memory Forged Sensor of Desolation by Blarp. So my Cleric has a very nice one-handed weapon here, and you can kind of see this is equivalent to, I think, Knight of Shadows tier 1 raid gear. This is the chase item for a Cleric inside of Lorien's Song. So it's pretty nice. It gives a chance on proc to give 825 mana when you hit your enemies, and then it has every time you cast a healing spell to give 370 mana back. So it's nice. It's very nice and definitely good. So you're going to want a shield as your offhand. There is I have it on my Paladin. There is a shield Augs called the Steely Stone of Buckling. Now this gives 16 mana regen. You're going to want this. As you can see, it gives heroic strength, stamina, intelligence, and wisdom. So this is all around. Every class can use this except maybe a berserker, but it's only on the shield slot. So definitely want to get that for your Cleric to put in there. I just don't have it yet for him. I'm like, this character's like totally undergeared. Let's see here. Everything else, you just get the best you can get for what you can get. Like if you're in Terror of Lucklin, that's the highest you can get. Tier 3 is the best gear you can get for that expansion at 120. Same with Knight of Shadow, tier 3. The best I can get at 125 is the tier 3 Lorien's Song, but I'm not there yet. So that's that. All right, AA wise, I focus this character on healing and healing alone. So I get the synergy. That's the next thing I'm buying at. I should have got it. I should have got it instead of Unity, but I got Unity instead for some reason. Getting the synergy maxed out, getting the remedy maxed out. I think I did put a point into remedy so that I could actually use Guyla's remedy. and get that 24% extra healing out of that. And then Syllable, you want that because Syllable is our synergy spell, so getting extra healing out of that is useful. I would need to buy, I think, like 3 ranks of this, if not maybe 2, so that it actually uses my current one. So that's when I upgrade the synergy, I have to upgrade the Syllable, right? So you're also going to want to improve the intervention line of spells, increases the damage and the healing out of those. And that's pretty much for the focus. And then for everything else, I go for the Healing Adept, Healing Boon, anything that's going to make my healing do more. I don't really do anything else. Abundant Healing is good. Like these combat stability and agility, like if I get hit, I'm dead. Like something totally has gone foobar if my cleric is tanking. The paladin has died. The pets are no longer able to taunt. Something has gone bad, and it's just a wipe. Like I'm not even gonna bother trying to recover. If anybody's alive, I'll try to gate them out. You know, whatever I need to do to salvage the situation. But typically, everybody just dies because the things hit so hard if the tank dies. So putting points into these is, you know, useful long term, but short term, it's not going to help me get any further progressing, right? And then I have so many of these mercenary points. Mercenary, I don't use mercenaries, but I get a ton of AA points from doing all the quests for the mercenaries. I just put them wherever, so it's not important. And just making sure whatever you're using is like where you're focusing your AAs, right? I do pure healing, or focuses first, then pure healing stuff, and then whatever I use. So like burst of life, right? That's going to be on my list, right? It's going to go from 37,044 to 39,047,000. So it's a nice little upgrade, you know, and stuff like that. So getting those upgrades over time will just make your group more and more stronger. So all right, I think that's everything. I think when I do the 125s, I'll talk about food and stuff like that, and type 3s, because I'm not buying type 3s for level 120. I'm not wasting the platinum on it. So we'll talk about those at 125 and where you should buy those, but all that. So there we go. That's how I play my 120 cleric. You know, I've never raided with the cleric, you know, as I said, so there could be some things that are, you know, a little bit different. You know, if you play a cleric and I'm saying something totally wrong, please point it out in the comments. I'll pin it and we can talk about it. But this is how I do it. This is how I play it. It's useful to me, and I don't have any problems doing any of the content with these guys. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.